Hey guys, welcome to another great edition here from the Menorcan Mullet. We're still in Georgia, and I got to tell you guys, it's been a challenge for me to be here um, and not up in Baltimore. However, I guess a lot of you guys have been watching the news. The ship was supposed to leave yesterday. Then they said no, it's going to leave today, and now from the latest report, I'm hearing it's going to be sometime next week. Um, it seems to be the story here that it's still going to take some time before the dolly is ready to go. Uh, the work that has stacked up on me here since my time in Baltimore has been uh, it's been quite challenging for me to climb back on top of. I had a lot of mechanical issues. For those, a lot of you that don't know, I operate a tree service here in coastal Georgia, and there's so many moving pieces and parts to that. It's difficult to stay up on top of equipment. In my time away, um, I had to get back and repair some things. Um, Guys, God bless them. They do what they can, but sometimes it takes a little bit more engineering, and I get stuck with those challenges when it happens. But wow, what a great time we had there in Baltimore. Uh, I'm still hoping to possibly be able to break away and try to get up there to see the ship leave. But what I wanted to say is if we're not able to do that, if we are not able to do that, Streamtime Live is, of course, going to carry the dolly when it leaves. And, it's we would have never known about this incident without Streamtime. And we're certainly glad that their stream was available like it was, because I think it was a nice package from what we did, kind of augmenting their system over there. I certainly enjoyed having them there because it was a great resource for me to be able to jump in there. Hey, Harvey, good to see you. Mr. Fallout, thanks for joining us. Uh, the time that uh, I couldn't be right on I won't say that the city of Baltimore was trying to arrest the crew, but they were trying to prevent the crew from leaving. There were 8 that were scheduled, I guess, to come off the ship. These guys they sign on for a certain amount of time, and I guess their time was up and they were ready to get off the ship. They should have been able to leave. The city of Baltimore said, "Hey, not so fast. We still may have some questions." Now, the thing about the questions is the questions aren't going to come until after the NTSB finalizes their report and all the investigations are completed. Then those guys will be able to, the representatives for the city will be able to go through that report. And I'm sure they're going to have some questions for certain individuals on the ship. From what I understand, what the city has agreed to, and this is with the blessing of the owners of the ship, the interested parties there, they're going to make any member of the crew available for questioning. Um, they'll know where they are. They'll know where to find them. Now, there's some that will be able to get off the ship. However, they're going to be held in Baltimore. They're not going to be locked in a jail, but they're going to be in an area where if they need to question or find those folks, they'll be able to do it. Some of the guys that are coming off the ship, from what I understand, it was 8, and now they're saying there are 10 of them that are going to be coming off. The I'm sorry, I was just reading the chat. Somebody said, "Is the dolly leaving today at 6?" It doesn't look like it is. Not from the news reports that I just read. Looks like they've moved it back to sometime next week, possibly Monday. Um, But getting back to those 10 were not in the engineering departments or um, guys that were what I would call the upper level of the crew. these are mainly, what they call ABs, able-bodied seamen. These are the guys that, they work the deck. They do uh, the the maintenance on the outside of the ship, or that, making sure that it stays painted or whatever, whatever those guys do, handling lines, securing cargo, those kind of things. Those guys were going to, okay, you guys can go, and if we need to find you for questions for you guys, to work that through the owners. So uh, some of those crew members, uh, as early as today, were supposed to be allowed to allowed to leave. Now, yeah, they did say that. Well, they said yesterday that the ship was supposed to leave yesterday. That didn't happen. And just checking stream time now, the ship's still there. We did see the Lynn Moran on the tracker. Let's pull that up again and take a look what's going on there at the site. And is the Lynn Moran still there alongside the ship or near the? No, I don't think so. Not from what we're seeing here. Maybe she was moving along to another ship. But earlier, when I looked at the tracker, the Lynn Moran, that's one of the tugs. You guys remember the Lynn Moran? She was there close to the Dolly. She must have been just transiting by, going to another job. And yeah, she is over in Dundalk with the Ark Defender car carrier. Okay, so doesn't look like the Dolly is going to move today at 6 o'clock, because that would be, what, 23 minutes from now, and you would think the tugboats would be moving into position, and certainly not taking another ship if that was going to be the case. But when it happens, if we're not there, guys, Stream Time Live will have it. Those guys have done a tremendous job with what and they've actually upgraded their camera. If you guys haven't been over there, certainly do that. Hey, Tiger, thanks for joining us today. I finally just quit to come in and do this live stream, grab a shower, and come in and sit down with you guys. Looking for you guys that aren't familiar, I'm going to try to show you guys this area. Can you guys see this? You see all those red areas in there? There's Norfolk. All those red areas, that's restricted airspace, because guess what? There's a big Navy base there. The naval yards are there in Norfolk. And you don't fly drones in that restricted space. It causes big problems, especially with the way things are going on in the world right now. Now, I don't know where the ship's going. If it's in one of those restricted airspaces, there will be no drones flown around it. We will be at the mercy of the powers that be to report what's going on with the ship. And it doesn't understand that the airspace doesn't necessarily just encompass the Navy bases. It kind of expands out. So keep that in mind. We'll have to see where the ship lines up to see if we're able to go and do anything like move in to take a look at anything, because naturally, if we're going to go up there and see it, you're going to want to look from the drone. You're going to want to see those issues. An AB, a bosun's mate. Well, I'm sure to be a bosun's mate, you start off as an able-bodied seaman. That's like the entry-level guy on the ship. He's an able-bodied, and then as you progress up, you get ratings from there. So I'm sure a bosun's mate was at one time an able-bodied seaman, and probably still is, but he now has a higher rating. Yeah. Geez, I don't know that the crew listen, there's a lot of insurance. And for those of you that never saw it, Dr. Macagliano over at What's Going On with Shipping did a tremendous job with one of his episodes explaining shipping insurance and how most of the insurances that covers the world's shipping is covered by there's about 13 companies, and they operate as a group out of the Lloyd's of London. So he did a really neat job on explaining the different tiers of how insurance in the shipping world works. I don't know that there's enough money in that policy to completely cover what happened in Baltimore. When you guys think about damage to the ship, 6 people lost their lives that were working on top of the bridge. The bridge is gone. The bridge is going to have to be rebuilt. There were, I don't know how many hundred of thousands of claims that came out because the port was shut down for the length of time that it was. You start thinking about all this stuff. The contractors there to remove the debris, to take care of the dolly, to get it ready to go to Norfolk, paying for all those cranes, tugboats, barges, the housing for the crews that were there doing from Don John and Resolve that were doing the work, the extra people that probably had to be brought on to operate the incident command center, those additional personnel, they had to be paid for. You can quickly see how fast these kind of things can gather and collect, and it really starts to just take off like crazy. How much does a bridge cost? We'll start with that. How much does the demolition, if that's what it's going to, and then the reconstruction of a new bridge cost? Forget everything else. What's going to be the cost of that? It's going to be very expensive, and sure, there's going to be lawsuits. There are going to be lawsuits. We just found out that the Golden Ray incident, which happened here in Georgia, that's kind of what started my channel back in 2019. One of those suits that was brought from the charter fishermen, the commercial fishermen, all the people that were directly affected by the Golden Ray was just settled like yesterday from 2019. And when you think about this incident, which undoubtedly is going to become the most expensive shipping disaster, if you will, accident, incident in the history of the United States, you can see that this is going to be a big, big issue. Tim, I would like to be able to come up to Baltimore and be able to show you guys some of the bridge, and probably in stages, because to be honest with you, I don't know if you guys have ever watched a bridge get built. Talk about, we've seen so many comments here in the chat, people talking about paint drying. Bridge construction's a lot like that. It's a very methodical and time. You got to pour concrete's got to set, cable's got to be rigged and adjusted. Then they kind of move out on one of these. We had one built here in Brunswick, and it took years to have. It was how should I say this? They had their own incidents. That these things use concrete forms, and the bridge kind of walks out. You have the centerpiece, and then they walk out from there, from both sides, until the bridge meets in the middle. And they dropped one of the forms off the bridge of Brunswick. That form was built in Italy, and that delayed our project for another, 9 months while we waited for another form to get built and get shipped back over here. So, yeah, they can take some time to happen. I would love to be able to come and do that, but it won't be a daily event. I can assure you of that. Yeah, Norfolk, trying to fly a drone around Norfolk, just looking at the app that we use for our approvals is going to be a challenge. That area is heavily covered. There's a huge presence in there, and that can cause somebody like me, an independent guy, flying the, hey, Daniel, thank you so much. That could take a lot of approval for that to happen. There's some areas that we can, but there's a lot of coverage in there that's restricted airspace. The good news about all this is not only will Streamtime Live be there to hopefully get the dolly whenever they decide to move it. Also, Fort Armistead has reopened. We actually did some video from there, and so I'm sure that there'll be a lot of the news groups that go there, kind of the get the ship as it passes the scene of the crime, if you will. It'll be covered. It'll be covered very well. Even if we don't make it there, I hope we do. But if we don't, there'll be some great coverage. The trip to Norfolk, I guess, is it's a pretty. You got to go all the way down to Chesapeake to get out to the to where Norfolk is. So it's going to be a little bit of a haul. Now, I did also read that the Coast Guard is going to implement a 500-yard safety zone around the ship. That's probably going to. I don't know if it'll preclude airspace. That safety zone will probably be, unless they enact a TFR out of a moving TFR around the ship, which I think would be very difficult to do. I hope they don't do that, so that at least the news cameras on the helicopters can get in there and be able to get some of those shots. That'll be really neat to see as it passes by. Don John's still there. We saw the Chesapeake 1000 still there. They got the claw on it. They're still working on pieces that are outside of the federal channel that are still down below. So they'll continue that. But what a tremendous job those guys did. I'm sure that most of you that are here with us right now had the same thoughts when we woke up the morning after the incident, when daylight kind of lit up what used to be the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and you saw that debris down there. A lot of us were like, how long is it going to take just to get the Port of Baltimore? It's the channel there. There was nothing to get in or go out. And what a tremendous job they've done. Resolve has had an interesting job with trying to get the ship ready to go. We saw them cut that one piece of concrete off that was kind of hanging off the side of the ship over off the starboard side. But it looks like the remainder of that ship, that piece of concrete is going to maybe remain on the ship until it gets maybe to Norfolk, or maybe when it gets back for permanent repairs, wherever it's going, it may make that ride until they can get over with some bigger equipment to pick that up. Just thinking. But I certainly had a great time sharing our moments with you guys and being able to bring the story to you. It was a very interesting process to witness and to be able to bring you guys along. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It was a lot of history that we recorded, and for the most part, you guys were there and got to experience it with us on pretty much a daily basis. Thank you so much for joining the channel and growing the channel the way you have. We're going to continue to do some things here. We've got the cleanup that's going on here with a lot of the same equipment. You're going to see cranes. You're going to see Edward Scissorhands. We've seen they've got two or three of those big hydraulically operated shears on excavators working over at that plant, and still a lot of the plant to come down. Those guys are moving really quick though, making small pieces out of large pieces at that facility. So if you guys haven't checked that out, we're going to be doing that, and we'll be waiting for the next big thing. When that happens, we're planning on being there. We've upgraded our equipment, and now I think we're ready to be able to bring you guys even something bigger and better the next time it happens. It's been an incredible ride, and it's so great even right now to look back through the chat and see so many familiar names. Teresa's in here. I know I saw Tiger. It's Byrne was in here. You know, the moderators that were here for this YouTube channel, I've said it before, I have the best moderators on YouTube, and they've done a tremendous job putting all this together for us and helping you guys enjoy the events as they unfolded. Man, we had some great times for sure in Baltimore. Yes, Tiger. All the participation from the American Navy was just fantastic. You guys, it was very refreshing to be able to go and do what I did and know that I had such an incredible support group there with me. I never felt alone, and you guys certainly made it enjoyable. I enjoyed every moment that I was there in Baltimore. We're going to continue to watch, and hopefully, if things work out, we'll be able to shoot up there and at least be able to get some footage, possibly a live stream. It takes a lot of the equipment that I had up there. I just can't fly a lot of that equipment. There's all the lithium batteries that run our cameras and our live stream equipment. All that has to be brought on board as carry-on, and then some of the equipment that we got. Just don't trust that in checked baggage. It's I've seen some YouTube videos, but it's been a great event to cover, and you guys certainly made it worthwhile doing. Thank you guys so much. We will hopefully be able to bring you guys some more news. Again, if you haven't heard, the Dolly was supposed to move yesterday. Then they said it was going to move today. And the latest news is now they're saying possibly on Monday, but sometime next week. I just want to pull up and see if there has been any additional news about that while we're here and live. Let's see here. Don't want that. What is this from 4 hours ago? Dolly is scheduled. Preparation are underway for the Dolly. Yeah, they're saying now they're going to be, of course, moving it out with tugs. It won't be under its own power. It's going to go by tugs. And they're saying Monday, June 24th. But this news report does not give a time. So this is going to be one of those things that I guess we have to kind of watch the ship and see when tugboats start getting around it. And we'll say it might be one of those things we jump on, guys. It's happening. And that's the thing about these kind of scheduling. It's not set. It's very fluid. We use that term a lot here during the process. It's a fluid. Safety zone will be in place until June 28th. So I guess what they're saying now is they don't want any more boats on the ship for 500 yards. And they won't have any, they won't want any boats around it when it's leaving for 500 yards. So getting shots from the water is probably going to be pretty difficult to do. But it's okay. Brought the boat back home anyway. We did that last time we were in Baltimore. Had to get the boat back. Guys, that's all we see right now. As for you guys, we can kind of go through does anybody have any questions or anything right in the chat they might want to engage? golly, we have had a lot of folks in here. I'm going to try to scan back through them and look. We talked about what the able-bodied seaman was. See, Green Bay. Hey, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Who's going to pay for it? Well, you know, ultimately, you know, you and I are going to pay for this. Yeah. We talked a little bit about that and how shipping rates have to increase to cover increased insurance costs. So the next time that you go and buy a television from the big box discount store, instead of paying $250 for it, you're going to pay $262. That's how the insurance business works, guys. Well, you know, you are. Man, do we have a good time here with you guys. Oh, we got some folks in here from Brazil. That's been so neat seeing where so many members of the Menorcan Navy hail from. 197 nautical miles to Norfolk. That sounds about right. I'm still working with DJI on the drone for a flyaway case. You know, we couldn't wait. We had to go, and wasn't going to be out without a drone. So that's why we had to do that. But we're still working with them, trying to get the flyaway, because I don't know what happened to that drone. It's just dropped out of the sky. We had no warning, no nothing. Just a splash. And the bad thing about it is it happened right in front of me, right there. I was watching it when it happened. Yeah, there's a lot of rules about it's not only restricted space, but you know, getting around any naval installation. You're not just going to cruise your boat up there and take a look at the warship that's there. They got guys in really fast boats that are armed, and they keep a pretty good eye. They call them security guys, and they're security guys for a reason. But they're not going to let you in there to get close to a ship with a boat. Again, I don't know where the ship's going. I haven't heard where the temporary repairs will be made in Norfolk. I don't know what's going on with the phone here. Oh. I got some friends from YouTube that are bouncing around with me. Wales. Oh my gosh, thank you guys. But how are they going to move it again? Let's see. SkyTech, yeah, it's an interesting, that process at the chemical plant is going to be interesting. Yeah, I hated to lose that thing too, especially when it was like right there. Tom, put pontoons on your drone. I'd love to do that, but you know what pontoons are? And that means that the time that we spent in the air probably would have been cut in half. Pontoons just really aren't a good option for me. And it's not going to do any good, because if it hits the water, if it drops into the water, it's done. It's cooked. How big is Norfolk? Norfolk's a pretty good facility. You know, it's the largest naval base on the East Coast. It's a pretty large area, and they have, like, I don't know, aircraft carriers that call that place home. And not to mention, I think they build aircraft carriers in that place. Isn't that correct, guys? Don't they build them there somewhere in the Navy yards there? It's a big area. Will it be escorted to Norfolk? Yeah, from what we understand, it's going to be moved there by tugboat. and that may be a Coast Guard mandate. Hey, yeah, you guys leave. If you're going that way, you better have some tugs pulling it, and Coast Guard can do that. Duct tape to repair the dolly. I wish, guys, when we looked at some of that drone footage that was there, and we looked down onto the ship and saw some of the holes that were through the deck. And then there were actually some of the bridge supports that we saw pulled out that we know went through the deck down into the ship. Will I be covering the dolly move to Norfolk? Unless the only coverage we're going to get from the move will be through Marine Tracker, and that's just going to be a position, maybe a speed, and we'll be able to see what tugboats are on it. There's not going to be any. I can't imagine any video. We won't be there with a boat to trail along behind the ship. At some point, it's you got to let it go, and the dolly, for me, once it leaves Baltimore, the story will pretty much be concluded. The ship will go off, it'll get repaired, and it'll be back in service, doing what it does. Will it retain the name? There's a lot of questions about that. Will it retain the name? Will they change the name of the ship? It's possible. The ships change their names quite a bit. It's very possible that we see a name change there. Yeah, Alfred, I'm very surprised that we did not hear of any casualties aboard the ship from crewmen there when it rained down on them. Especially when you see the size of the concrete that's on the deck of the ship, and the damage that was done there, and how folks made it out of there without being casualties was pretty close to miraculous, in my opinion. Unfortunately, the 6 guys who were working up on top of the bridge that lost their lives were just doing what they do, making repairs, and they were apparently in the middle of a break, and when the ship struck. And this tragedy could have been so much worse, guys, if this thing had happened during rush hour, or again, and I've said this many times, if the Transit Police Authority, those officers had not been at each end of the bridge when somebody said shut the bridge down, it would have been a much worse story, because we would have probably seen cars just coming off the bridge there, and that would have been a very, very sad thing to see. Let's see. Yeah, the crewman, the guy that dropped the anchor, Thomas, you brought up, there was a guy there they were in the process of trying to get the anchor set, and then they never got the brake set because the bridge started to come down while they were there, and they had to scramble for their lives there when that happened. Yeah, Rob and Robin were a tremendous asset, and we certainly thank them for their hospitality. I know that a lot of you guys helped them out in their quest, and they Robin still has her Cash App out. If anybody is feeling like they want to be generous, certainly do so. Certainly do so. We helped them out on a daily basis when we were there with with different things that they needed. And I don't say wanted, things that they needed. When we were there, we were able to help them out on a daily basis while we were there. And a lot of that is because of you guys. Thank you you guys helping me. I was trying to spread the love there. But their Cash App, thanks Tiger for putting that up there. Their Cash App is still there if anybody is feeling generous. Well, guys, I think we've been here for a little bit over 30 minutes. And yeah, well, SkyTech, oh my gosh, Daniel, that is huge. You guys, look at there. Thank you guys so much. Daniel, you guys that were just awarded those membership. It's a very large facility. So much. We're going to continue to work on getting some lives as soon as I can get back on top of the mountain, and I'm getting close. I want to start doing some lives from the process that we have ongoing here locally with the demolition of the Pinova chemical plant. A lot of interesting stuff going on out there. I think you guys will enjoy. Who doesn't like to see stuff just getting ripped down by some big excavators? Great content. We're going to continue to do that, and hopefully them on a live stream to talk about what the plant did and give us a little bit of the history of that facility there. Is the scanner online so that we could hear it from a live stream? Are you talking, SkyTech? Are you talking about the transport of the ship? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there is a live stream for the VHF channel that the tugboats. First of all, you got to have the stream for the VHF, and then you got to make sure that it's on the right channel to be able to hear that. And I'm not familiar with that. There's probably some guys out there that know of some, and maybe we'll get notice of that here. I would check back in the comments and see if it does have frequencies. Usually those tugs are working on like channel 12 or 13 on the VHF. And that would be interesting to hear and listen to the call outs as they get them and they traverse back by the former Francis Scott Key Bridge. Thank you guys again so much for being with me and taking this journey with me. I wasn't sure what we were getting into when we started the process, but you guys certainly made it all worthwhile. And every day that I was in Baltimore, I was up and ready to go before the sunlight. I was anxious to get started, grab some breakfast, and get everything loaded up and get over there. And it was a good bit of work. You get back, you have to edit some video, and that is a lot easier said than done. And then it'd be a dash to try to get batteries recharged before I just fell asleep. Trying to keep batteries charged was always a challenge. No Waffle House. My place up there I found is called Cookies. It was in Pasadena. That's where we were staying up with Ralph Driscoll. I don't know if Ralph is. I haven't seen him. Toro 220. You guys might see. Great friend, and he opened his home up to me, and I certainly enjoyed. I enjoyed so much of my time with not only Ralph but also with Kirk Towner. He is an admiral here with the Minorca Navy, and he drops in from time to time. But those two guys were just blessings for me, and I certainly enjoyed my time without him. Thank you, Thomas. You guys, Tiger's brought up a good point. If you haven't made sure that all your notifications are, you guys do. Guys, so much for being here. I want to end the stream now. And again, thank you guys so much. We're going to stay tuned. Hopefully we can get to Baltimore, but if not, What do you say once we find a good time? Look for a notification. We may be back on and do a live talking about the ship as it leaves. Hey, great in here. You guys be safe out there. See you guys later.